Have you ever been there, just stuck in your own head replaying some conversation from hours ago, or second-guessing a decision until you're just totally exhausted? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. So in this explainer, we're going to break down what's really going on and, most importantly, how to finally get off that frustrating hamster wheel of overthinking.
Does a scenario like this sound a little too familiar? One little thing happens, and suddenly your mind is just off to the races, isn't it? It starts creating this entire story packed with anxiety and all the worst-case scenarios. This is the classic start of an overthinking spiral. And this isn't just about relationships. It can spiral out of control with work, with friends, you name it.
So, if we're going to break this cycle, we first have to understand what we're actually up against. Let's really define this overthinking loop and figure out why it can feel so impossible to escape.
I mean, that phrase, spinning your wheels, is just the perfect way to describe it, isn't it? You're putting in so much mental effort, you're getting drained, you're getting stressed out, but you're not actually solving a single thing or moving forward at all. It's all this energy with absolutely zero progress.
And this is what it feels like, right? Lying awake at night, your mind just racing through past mistakes, future worries, and all these dramatic worst-case scenarios. It's that shift from, productive problem solving into a really destructive loop that just saps your energy and gives you no solutions.
But here's a really key insight. Overthinking isn't just some bad habit we picked up. A lot of the time, it's actually a defense mechanism. See, we think we're trying to solve a problem, but what we're often doing is creating a kind of mental smokescreen to avoid something much more uncomfortable, our feelings.
This right here, this is the most important question you can ask yourself when you're caught in one of those thought spirals. That endless analysis is really just a distraction. It's keeping your brain busy so you don't have to face the real, more vulnerable emotion that's hiding underneath it all.
So what are we avoiding? Well, it usually boils down to one of these three things. First, the fear of making a mistake. The stakes just feel way too high. Second, we avoid feeling vulnerable. Staying in that analysis node keeps you at a safe, intellectual distance from actually committing. And third, and this is a big one, we overthink to avoid knowing our own truth, to ignore something uncomfortable that our gut is trying to tell us.
Okay, so we know the what and the why. Now let's get to the good stuff. Let's get practical. How do you stop that runaway train of thoughts right in the moment? Here are some quick, really powerful resets you can use immediately.
I love this three-step method. First, you just catch the loop by acknowledging what's happening. Then, you write it all down. Get it out of your head and onto paper to create some distance. And third, you sort it. And this last step is a total game changer because it pulls you out of that powerless worrying and into empowered action by focusing only on the things you can actually control.
Now, if your brain is really spinning out, you need a way to just slam on the brakes. This sensory grounding exercise does exactly that. It literally forces your mind out of the anxious what-ifs of the future and plants you firmly back in the physical reality of right now. It is almost impossible to stay trapped in your head when your brain is busy cataloging what's actually around you.
Those quick resets are fantastic for putting out fires in the moment, but for real long-term change, we need to go a step further. We need to actually start rewiring the anxious thought patterns that get us into these loops in the first place.
And this long-term strategy is built on a technique called cognitive reframing. Now, it sounds fancy, but it's a simple and profound idea. You feel whatever you think. So, if you can consciously change the story you're telling yourself about a situation, you can fundamentally change the emotion that it creates inside you. And this is the key. This is the whole goal. We get so tangled up trying to answer the first question, is what I'm thinking true? We can argue with ourselves for hours about that, but the real power comes when we switch to a much better question, is what I'm thinking helpful? That one question can change everything. So, here's the practical roadmap for how to do it. It's a 5-step process. First, name the feeling. Then, name the thought that's driving that feeling. Third, do something physical. Go for a walk, do some jumping jacks, just interrupt that stress response. Fourth, reframe the thought using that helpful question. And finally, and this part is critical, take one small helpful action. Which brings us to our final, and honestly, our most important principle. If you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. The ultimate antidote to being stuck in your head is to get out of it and into your body.
This mantra says it all. Rumination is passive. You're just spinning in place. Action, on the other hand, is forward movement. It breaks that mental paralysis and proves to your brain that you are not helpless.
And that action does not have to be huge.
It can be paying one bill, sending that one email, or just going for a 5-minute walk around the block. The simple act of doing something, taking even one tiny step, immediately restores your sense of agency and breaks the cycle of helpless overthinking.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Instead of thinking more about how to stop overthinking, what is one small, concrete action you can take right now to move forward? That's your first step to a calmer, much less cluttered mind.